I'm just. Hey, B, how are you?
Good. What's up? You caught yourself right before you spoke, dude. Yes, nice job. Nice job.
Learning slowly, you know what?
Slowly but surely.
Just 3, 4 years in, I'll unmute. Maybe it was that first one Pope gave. Loving the shirt, dude. That is some.
Hmm.
That's some old school stuff right there.
How about that one, dude?
How
Toy
about that
Roto.
one?
Bam. Yeah, dude. I got this off of Lab 9 had a link. Maybe he still does. On his page to it was like a one of those like T Public or something like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, I got that one a few years ago, and I think it was running a sale at the time, dude. It was dirt cheap,
Yeah, I believe it was like 10 or 15 bucks or something like that. If
something
anything,
like
what's
that.
probably
Yeah.
funny is I would imagine it's one of those things you kind of forget the links even up there until a couple sell, and all of a sudden you get something showing you made like $4, and you're like, where the hell does $4 come from? And it's because you sold the
Yeah,
shirt. You're like, oh, fuck that link. Okay, whatever, you know. Because realistically, most of those shirt sites that like from my experience, unless you know exactly what avenue you're going down, or unless you maybe have enough screen printed things to have on there. But any of those ones that are just like upload your design and print as they go, it's like those are usually you're making pennies on those ones, like you know.
yeah, I would think so, man. You know who would know about that is FKD Toys. Suki knows
It,
about that, and he sells on there. But yeah, I mean,
Not only
I
it's
guess
funny you're saying Suki, but it's funny Magoob actually has some because if you go on theirs as well, they do a lot of like screen printed shirts and stuff as well,
true,
man. Yeah. So
true, true,
it's gonna
true,
be funny. Maybe we'll have to keep that in the back pocket. Bug them about that when we pull them in here in a sec.
for sure, for sure. Why don't you tell us what Canada Day is? Because
Oh
I
goodness
don't
me.
know. Come on, man, let us
I would,
know.
you
That's what
know
it's
what?
all about.
The sad thing is, I probably should have Googled it before we even came on here, man. Because I like myself, or I mean, like others, because I am myself. Damn it, dude. Um, but you know, you guys have independency on the 4th, right? And that's when you were basically like declared like your own independent country from Britain, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm sorry, say that again. I was reading the comments.
Is your Independence Day basically like the day that you guys were like defined, like just like legally your own independent country away from
Right,
Britain?
which is this
Yeah,
Saturday, actually,
right.
July 4th.
So I'll be honest,
So,
and I could take a quick Google and just check, but I can't tell you right now if our Canada Day is basically the same or if it's the day it was found. Goes to
gotcha.
show you. What are we learning
Uh,
in Canada here?
Suki says merch, yeah, is great for POD, set your own point, price point and profit. Yeah, there you go. Let's
Yeah,
see.
Confederation. So basically, it would be when we were actually same as you guys.
There we go.
Our separation from the British Empire.
There you go. Very nice. Congratulations on that.
Hey, you know, we do what we can. There's been way cooler things than that. I mean, at the end of the day, poutine and maple syrup and fucking
Mm.
Toronto and Toronto Toy Riot. That's all cool shit. It's way cooler than Confederation.
It is. And Hawaiian pizza.
Oh, okay. And you know what's the worst about that? Because when I saw that you put that, I was like, oh fuck. Because anytime then that you actually tell somebody you want pineapple on your pizza, so many times in my life as a vegetarian, I've had people be like, "I know how much you love Hawaiian pizza," and you're like, "No, no, no. I like pineapple on my pizza, but Hawaiian pizza is bacon, pepperoni, and pineapple. Little different."
I was looking up Canada facts, and it had a list of foods, and Hawaiian pizza was like number two or number three, and I'm like, is that real? And then so you Google
Oh,
Hawaiian pizza in Canada, and then I start reading the story about how it was, originally from there, I guess, and went to the whole story about a guy who was trying to get in. It was like the 50s, 60s kind of hula girl type vibe, and he was trying to pull some customers in and ended up throwing pineapple on a pizza or calling it Hawaiian pizza. I don't know, but I thought that was interesting. Canada, who would have known? I don't know.
but you guys have that there too, right?
Of course.
Hey, there
Yeah.
you go. You know what we're doing right now? It's a weird one because Canada often has like ketchup chips and shit, and maybe it's because of Canada Day, but now you can find like the ketchup Doritos are on for a limited time, the ketchup Cheetos are on for a limited time. It's like everybody's banking in on the it's Canada Day. I'm sure you guys see all that too. What are some of the Independence Day things? What are some of the American like go tos for that kind of holiday?
Well, fireworks for sure. Usually fireworks displays all over the place. Like I said, this year, I think it's on, I mean, it's definitely on Saturday, but it's not going to be again on Saturday until like mid 2030s sometime or something like that. So that's a little bit unique. It is a federal holiday, so no one usually works on Friday. I mean, there are people out there that do work, but it's mostly a holiday. But usually, man, I always think of it as like time to barbecue. Usually weather is nice, it's hot, it's starting to heat up a little bit. Um, I guess nationally, the thing there's like the hot dog eating contest. I don't know if you guys I'm sure you see that on TV. That's some wild shit. That's like out in New York, I believe. But it's usually if you've seen the movie Sandlot and the 4th of July scene there, man, that pretty much wraps it up right there. I always remember it as, barbecue, probably some baseball, and fireworks at night. The only thing is, dude, like out where I'm at, man, it doesn't get like dark. Like they won't set off fireworks until like 9:30 right now. It doesn't get dark till late,
Yeah.
late. So
Yeah. And you know what? I think more and more, especially in the larger cities, you're seeing a little bit more pushback on, just pick a time, pick a place, do them there or something. Anyways, before we get carried away, you want to say hi to the homies in the chat, and then we'll pull the Yahoo guests we have got in for tonight in?
sure, absolutely.
Hey.
Let's do it. Oh, Gray Skull Toys. What's up, dude? Canadian Batmanana. What up? Dane Marks 152. What's going on? Toys and Tits. What's up? Suki. What's going on, man? Ashley K. What's up? Headcase Caucasian Creations. Bliss Receptor, my man. What's going on? And there we go. I had that. What's going on? Yes, scaring all the dogs. That is a problem, dude. The dogs just howl out here at night, man, when it's around that time of year. I always feel bad for them when that happens, dude. There's no escaping it. We have people what locally like people go down to parks and light stuff off, and it's always sometimes it's not even fireworks, man. It's just like M80s and just loud ass stuff, dude. It's crazy. And it'll start like probably tonight, when people start having the next couple days off, and then it goes till after that. So, you know, yuppie
I
bomb. What's
think,
going on?
I think the M80s kind of caught me off guard there. Wasn't expecting that one, man.
Oh, those are loud, dude. I'm sure you've heard those. It's like a quarter stick of dynamite, basically, is
Yes.
what that
Yeah, yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, if anything, I get like we're very fortunate. We live in Canada or anything, but if anybody's ever been hunting or if anybody lives up further, like in Hickville or anything like that, like you hear guns, you understand what a gun sounds like. It's a
Oh
lot. I
yeah.
think it's a lot louder than most people realize, man.
It's loud. It's very loud, dude, for sure. But you know.
Anyway,
So, anyways, we'll do that. What do you guys? What about Canadians, dude? What do you guys do? Was today like a national
you
holiday
know
for
what? I would
everybody? What do you?
imagine. I would imagine a lot of people went up to like cottages and all that kind of stuff. So yes, a lot of
Mm,
people had today off. It's a toasty one down here in Toronto. I know the boys were telling us it was toasty there. It's a humid one as well, man. I'm a dirtbag. I hack the darts. We call them sog logs. Like it's humid when you can basically take your dart and you can basically bend it and it starts doing the full rainbow shape without snapping. That's when you're like, oh yeah, it's gross. Like
oh man,
because you're
that is
smoking it. It's
gross.
just so much more. You know what? It's wet. It's gross. You can tell, and right away. You're like, oh, it's a wet one today. It's humid, man. So we're in
Yeah.
for it. I can even tell. Anytime I lean in forward, I'm like, oh yeah, you dumbass. You're wearing a hood. You got sweat everywhere, like a moron.
Mm.
Yeah, I gotta get myself one of those like super thin desert shawls or something for the summer. That way I can still be all bundled up without roasting myself.
Oh, God. Well, that sucks, dude.
Yep.
Hopefully you had
Anyway,
it.
I don't, but I've got this fan sitting right here beside me. It's it is what it is. You do what you do.
There you go.
There you go, man. I think I fucked up. I was telling the dudes in the chat when I reached out on the Friday. Was it Friday or the Thursday? And I was hoping to get them all in. And for some reason, I said on the second. And of course, everybody's like, "Oh yeah, I'll be down. I'll be down. I'll be down." And then on Monday, you catch it. You're like, the first, and all of a sudden, it's like, I can't. You're like, fuck,
Oh,
man.
yeah, you're right. I'm like, what's wrong with
Um,
that?
Because all
Today
this,
is the
I mean,
first. That's
family
November.
things. Yeah, people are like going and doing barbecues and seeing loved ones and all that fun jazz. Yeah.
I hear you.
Whoa, Titty Bean Toys, what is going on,
Oh,
homie?
what's up, doggy
Odd for you to be
dog?
hopping on.
Man.
And then, I've been thinking about it for the last couple of days. Have we had a chance to sit with Magoob? Did they come on at one point when we were doing a DKE segment and blurb for a little bit? Or have we not had them on yet?
I think the answer is yes. But I want to say maybe it was attached to a show,
Okay.
maybe, or something like that. I don't know. He would probably know better than us, right? So, yeah, I don't know. But if
Isn't
not,
that sad?
yeah,
You
it
start seeing
is.
so many faces and artists that you hit that point, you're like, shit. Because I remember it would have been around the time of the Space Warped figures, because we were all really intrigued about that process. Instead, like, and it'll probably come up tonight too. But like in toys, what do we focus on? We're always so meticulous about trying to get like these perfect casts, and it's kind of jokes to go the complete opposite way to get like a really shitty 3D rendering and purposely printed out at like the lowest caliber in order to have these kind of amorphous blobs that are still painted up to look like their characters, put on backers. It's it's very unique. It's a nice combination, I would say, like that visual art world we're always talking about, mixed in with the toys that we all talk about.
Yeah. Some of the first really kind of bootleg packaging, of the Star Wars figures, dude. I thought that was just the coolest,
Oh man,
back in the day. And then, I have quite a few of those just plain black figures that are, they're static
yeah,
Star Wars figures and they have different names. But yeah, dude, those are great.
yeah. Now, when
Um,
you say that, are you talking about like the space movie ones? Because I
yes,
pulled one aside. I wasn't gonna grab all of them, but
that's the
and
exact packaging that I'm talking about.
dude, with the
Yes,
frickin' no name branding cease and desist behind there.
it's great,
Yeah,
dude.
that's some
I
good shit.
mean, it's great. Sadat, King Spider, what's up, dude? Another Canadian. And look at that cool cat toy co. Welcome home, dude. Where you been, dog? He's actually been sculpting a ton of stuff, dude. Man, he's had some killer drops as of late. I know that he was in a couple shows as well. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, Titty Bean, man, we got to get that dude back on about that vinyl, dude. Woo!
Right, I was just about to say, have them talk up that vinyl, see what's been going on the last, what, year?
Caucasian Creations, thank you, dude. Yeah, I busted out the Expos hat again tonight. It's been a while.
Oh, God.
The Montreal Expos will see a piece from Slime City Toys tonight from the
Nice.
city of Montreal. So that'll be cool. That'll be cool.
See, I'm feeling like we've done,
Doc Core, Canadian.
because even Slime City, I'm sitting there going, we've had them on. Have we done an all Canadian episode before? I was thinking that too. I was grabbing pieces today, putting them on this thing before me. I'm like, we've done this before.
No,
Uh,
I don't think so. Not on purpose. I know that. I think that maybe we've done it before and probably not even realized it.
fair.
But never. I don't think we've done it like intentionally like this before. Doc Core, what's up, dog? Um,
Oh goodness me, you
so
want to
yeah,
pull these guys in here and chat
yeah,
their ears off?
let's do it.
You gents are all good? Alright. Boom, boom, boom. And just like that, there were five.
There you
Howdy y'all,
go.
how goes everyone?
What's up?
Before the chaos begins, we're gonna start with Magoob here. Why don't we're gonna put you full screen and just let everybody at home know who you are, what you do, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I'm MAGOOB Toys, Jamie in Toronto. MAGOOB Toys on Instagram. I work in advertising, art director, graphic designer, and toy maker on the side. Thanks for having me on the show, guys.
No, thank you very, very much for joining, dude. I know it's a busy day for a lot of folks, so I appreciate you making that time.
No, of
Have
course.
you been on the show before, dude?
Yeah.
Let's end this right now. Have you been on the show before?
I haven't, but I've met you, B, at
Yes.
Designer Con.
Yes.
Crumbs, not we came close to meeting at one point, but I just did a drop off for you at a local toy store.
Yeah,
Nice.
you ended up doing a drop over at Trios Collectibles.
Treehouse,
And that was
that's
actually the
right.
first place. Yeah, man.
Oh yeah, Treehouse, nice.
Right. Pope, man, why don't you take the floor? Let us all know who you are, what you do, man.
Hi, my internet name is Pope Toys. I am a Canadian uh, full-time dad, part-time toy maker. Um, that's it. My name's Christian.
And then KEVY Cold Cuts, man, bring us home, homie.
What's
Floor
up,
is yours.
y'all? KEVY Cold Cuts here, indie artist up in the Great White North. Make my own comic books, trading cards, stickers, all that fun stuff. And of course, I make my own toys. And happy Canada Day to all the Canadians out there watching.
Oh gosh, man. And you know what? Maybe before we hop into the toys, what's Canada Day mean for you guys?
I know it's a controversial one.
Okay, there you go. Fair,
The hot topic
Yeah.
right there.
fair.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny you say that. Maybe you've seen Dogman Slaps actually took a pic and put up one of their stickers recently that it was the Canadian flag and it just said sorry, and then at the tip there it had the little blood drops down, and you're like, oh
Yeah.
shit. And
That's
you're like,
about
that's
it.
good, but damn, yep.
Yeah.
Fair. Magoob, I
Proud to
think
be here,
probably-
but yeah, it's a dark history. That's for sure.
It's like anywhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and let's be real. And I'm just gonna be that guy. We're five white middle-aged men right now discussing it, which isn't that classic, right? It's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, we're so terrible. It's like, yeah. Shit.
Yeah, it's just, it's
So-
another great holiday. It's a nice day off. It's awesome.
Damn. Well, that
I had to
aside,
work today, but that's fine, I guess.
No.
Damn.
Fuck you,
There you
bro.
go. There you go. Not for everyone.
I was gonna say I think we all worked in America, but we were thinking of you guys. So
Oh,
I appreciate it.
Oh, thanks,
Yeah.
Pete. Thanks.
Magoob,
Oh,
I think you've been in the game probably the longest. When did you first start making specifically like kind of toys in this indie realm, and what kind of toys were you making?
Who was that for?
Oh, sorry, for Magoob. I don't know why I said B. Oh
Okay.
my gosh, guys! I'll wake up. I promise.
I started back in 2018, probably the middle of 2018. Got laid off around the same time. The first release came out in, I think it was February of 2019. It was those space movie figures that you had shown, Crumbs. But I think I became familiar with like the Suck Lord and some of those other artists probably around that point too. And just, again, I think once you kind of get the taste and you start seeing, I made the mistake of buying, I don't know if it was a mistake. I was buying everything I could come across. I didn't have a curated collection. So it's just like, I was so ignorant to, who was out there, what was out there. So anytime I came across any kind of resin, I was buying it up without, thinking about if it was a franchise or a character or a style that I even liked. So I started amassing that kind of stuff. And then I think what everybody else kind of does as well is start figuring out, what your own style is going to be. And I'm still somewhat figuring that out. I think with the Warped series of toys, it's kind of starting to define what that looks like. I'm not making them as much as I was probably making other stuff. And I think that's intentional, is to be a little bit more deliberate with what I'm making. And I think and it'd be interesting to hear what everybody else thinks, but the landscape of people buying and selling has kind of changed as well. I'm finding, especially since, the COVID years are over, that some money is dried up in some places, or they're focusing their interests on other things. But I've definitely seen like sales change in the last couple of years. So that's kind of changing my focus as well.
Damn.
That's and that's gonna be an interesting point of view, man, because I think you're the only one on here that was doing this before COVID and after COVID, so you can really I think other people can take a look back at it historically and try to guess what it was like, but for an artist that was trying to do it before and after and saw that change, That's an interesting point of view. So it's literally, dude, that's crazy. It's like you're one of the oldest people that we've had on the, not oldest age wise, but oldest as far as doing this that we've had on the show. And then someone like KEVY Coldcuts, who's probably one of the newest ones out there. And then Pope Toys is relatively new himself. But interesting, man. That's yeah. Um,
Yeah, to give you an idea, like of what numbers used to look like, and this is probably just before COVID hit. So like say 2019, 2020, you used to be able to do a series of 40 figures and sell them out, no problem. And in the last couple of years, it's become 20, 10, 5. And even at 5, we're just like, are these going to sell? And again, there's lots of factors in that. Is like, is it a character? Is it a franchise that people like? Is it a style that people like? But I've heard, just through the grapevine and other people, and it's just like, it's across the industry. The numbers have just dropped like crazy.
Now, when you were mentioning like what you're collecting, and any of the other gentlemen here, like, feel free to chime in. Do you think the amount of collectors kind of refining their tastes has also played into that, or do you think it is just kind of like you said, the money is kind of dried up in different pools, or is going different avenues? No.
Yeah, it's a good question, and I think it's probably, for me, it's definitely a column. It's in the latter column of there's artists that I buy from. And also as somebody that's making stuff, it's also hard sometimes to buy other artists' figures. And just like, not that you don't want to support, but it's like we're all starving artists on some level. So it's like you're trying to make sure that you're putting the money into the things that you actually love. Not to say that, because I'm not buying something, I don't love the artist's work. It's just, there's very little, and this, I'm speaking for myself, there's very little money that's being made on the back end of selling toys. So, and just being very more deliberate with where the money is going.
That's a brilliant way of putting it, I would say. Definitely, man. And like, for Pope or KEVY, do you guys find that like basically runs of 5 is also kind of we have to watch, or do you find like one-offs is kind of generally where you have to almost be doing sales, or where does that sit for you guys?
Yeah, for me, like I've really just done kind of smaller runs right now. Like I've got a few sitting here or whatever, but like I get scared like to make too many. I don't want to make more than I can move. But I'm also really slow. So like right now, and B can probably talk to this too, but like B's waiting for some toys from me, and I've been, man, I don't know. I think it's been a month in change now, like that I started making stuff. I'm just really slow. So that's my biggest thing for me. Like I don't want to sound cocky and be like, I can sell anything I make, but I just can't make it like fast enough to really be confident being like, yeah, I can move toys, no problem. It's like, yeah, I'll move the 3 that I'm going to make this month. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of where I'm at with this stuff.
Yeah, that's usually where I stay in there. It's like that 3 to 5. I usually have like an original sort of colorway or idea that I come up for the figure, and I usually like stick within, like, say I'll do like 3 of those and maybe have like a sort of offset variant or something that I have fun with, maybe like one that's sort of like an over 4 or something, but I usually just keep it within that and see how they sell. And sometimes it surprises me really too what sells fast, and what I think might move quick and just I sit on. So I tend to stay in that number. Seems like a safe number.
And like Magoob, out of curiosity, like what is it about your workflow that there was a time that you were even making like 50 figures, 20 figures, full assembly run style? Like what was kind of the drive behind that attack for doing it?
Just figured if I went through the trouble of making a mold, spending the money on the silicone and doing all that, it's like I'm going to try to get as many pulls out of that mold as I can. I'm not using the platinum cure silicone, so it doesn't have the tin cure stuff that I'm using. It doesn't have the shelf life that the platinum cure does. So yeah, it could sit around and I can do another run, but I also have an attention span problem that once I if I did a run of 5 and it's sold out, then to go back and do another run of, you know, whatever number, I don't know that I have the interest in it by the time I'm done a project. And again, you could say because I'm doing larger numbers, I'm just tired of it and I want to move on to something completely different. But I've always kind of admired those that do one-offs and do singles, and it's just not in my DNA to, you know, to do a single thing. It's like and that means I don't even have one for myself. So even when I'm doing a run, I have a handful of artist proofs for myself, and then I like fully done up, painted, carded, and then I'm always casting like a solid white one as well, just to have kind of like a test shot carded, just for my own collection. So it would be tough for me to do one-offs. I've done some shows like with, say, what was it, the Nugget show with Dan O'Brown, and it was probably the hardest thing I've done is doing a one-off figure, and one of my favorite things that I probably made, and I don't even own it. So it's tough for me to let go of things. I like to hang on to more of my work than to sell it, I think.
For you, Magoob, is a one-off, like, when you say one-off, do you just mean like a specific colorway, or like is it like a single mold, like one figure, that's it?
Yeah, strangely enough, I haven't done alternate colorways on anything. There's something I'm doing now is going to be, it is a different colorway, but it's a second edition of something that's coming out. But yeah, the edition of 40 is all one colorway. Once it's done, it's done.
Oh,
and
okay.
I just move on to something else.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Oh, that's neat.
Yeah,
Like for me, I consider like if I'm using the same mold, I'm like, that's like I'll do the mica dusting in all my molds, but every powder's different. Like, so I don't, in that sense, I don't call them one-offs, but I'm like, every one of them kind of is a one-off. Like, you know, you'd even have like these two guys, like they barely look different on camera, but like this one's mostly black and this one's got like a purple tint. Like it's the same figure,
kind of see it.
but
Yeah,
like, you know, but these aren't even painted yet, and that's something I have too. I like to keep ones for myself too, but the ones I keep always end up being artist proofs, like you said, barely painted. But
yeah, I think when you're doing, and let's say that those are one-offs or kind of in the world of one-offs, like it's attracting, again, somebody very specific. I know some people that, and looking at, you know, the display behind B, it's like the color organization to everything. Like I know some people that will only buy green figures. So if your figure isn't in green, you're not selling it to them. And
I know one of them too.
There you go. It's probably
I have some of his toys as well. I don't know if we're talking about the same guy.
Probably. So yeah, and again, maybe that's also where it's limiting on my part, where it's, you know, I've kind of chosen a path and went down a certain colorway and a color combination of things, and you know, it doesn't attract the right person. You need 40 of essentially the same person to be able to, you know, look at it and want that one thing. Versus, I've done a blind box with the mica powders of the Galaxy Laser Galaxy Team robot that I redesigned. And each one of those, I think there was like 20 or 40 of those robots, and each one was a different mica color, but they're blind packs, so it's like you didn't know what you're getting.
Would you say, like, and Magoob, if you don't mind, I'm going to kind of keep on poking at you for a bit, but when you do like a run for DKE Toys, for instance, what's that like? Because I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of pressure when you've now talked to Dove, you've assured him that you're going to have X amount of figures done. You almost want the very first one and the last one to look identical, so that way anybody buying them gets the same feeling. Like, how do you basically just keep your focus and just tackle out a run that way?
I compartmentalize, like once I'm kind of in the painting mode, they all get painted all at once. So I don't put it off. I know, like, for example, I remember you talking about the Space Warps figures, and I did 2 releases of those. I think there are like 4 figures in the first release. Well, 3 releases, 4 figures, and then a bonus Boba Fett. And even with the card backs of illustrating and designing those card backs, there was enough gap between that first release and the second release that I started to forget how I achieved a certain look. So I worry that I'm not skilled enough that I can, kind of stop in the middle of a process and pick it up and have that continuity. So, when I do releases for Dove, again, I kind of use his guidance of what an edition should look like and what he's able to sell, because I know he doesn't really want to sit on inventory, and it doesn't do the artist any good for him to be warehousing their figures, or listed on the website. Like, we'd rather have them sell out. So using him as guidance for the volume of figures they're doing, and then, yeah, like I said, when I'm doing, like, if I'm focusing on card backs, I'm doing all the card backs all at once. When I'm painting the figures, I'm doing all the figures all at once, just to make sure that there's at least, from the first one to the last one, there's always going to be some discrepancies, and everything's hand painted, but the idea is that they all look virtually the same.
I'm curious, KEVY cold cuts, man. Do you think doing maybe a run of 20 figures for Dove, having them all try and look very, very similar in paint app style, backers, is that something that would ever interest yourself, or do you kind of enjoy the style you go at right now, where you get to kind of just toss some stuff in the mold, see what comes out afterwards, and play with that?
Yeah, I kind of lean more to that style. I have fun. I don't mind doing. I don't know if I'd be able to do a run of 20. I probably could. It seems like it would be a lot for me. I kind of have fun, like you're saying, doing the different colorways, doing just whatever I'm feeling, whatever I'm inspired by, and also a lot of times just whatever supplies I have on hand. That's kind of how I've always gone about my art, whether it be painting or whatever, sketching and stuff. I love to have quality materials and whatnot when I can, and I have the funds, but I also just work with what I got sometimes. I find, at least for myself, what I end up selling more of a lot of times are those one-offs. A good majority of the stuff I sell surprised me sometimes, where it's I think this is a little too weird. I can't see, it's going to be a very specific person that's going to enjoy this. But I don't know, I guess I always seem to find that person for sure. It's nice.
It's easy to get wrapped up in the hype around a figure too, though. I imagine you have one really hot figure that, you post and you're trying to sell it, and you have, 50 people, 100 people that are they want that same thing. For me, it's easy to get wrapped up in the, am I making 200 of these things now? Can I do it? Will these people actually commit to buying it? So it's always been tough doing, I think when we, that art show, the scraps show that Angry Beast used to run. And it's a lot of those, I've kept every one of those figures, and I know a lot of the artists would sell them off. But there's always that interest of, could I turn this into, a sellable figure after the fact? But again, I think there's the difference between people showing interest and people actually committing to buy, at the end of the day.
I've heard that from multiple artists, man. And even, when it goes a step further and people actually reach out to inquire and get pricing and then ask for a timeline and stuff. And then you just never hear from them again, and that's gotta be frustrating, man.
When you hit them up for shipping costs and the actual payment, they go quiet.
Yeah. Well, so on that note, Grayskull said that his sales dropped off drastically after the tariffs.
Yeah.
Do you guys kind of see that across the board? Would you say that you're doing a lot of your shipping outside of Canada?
Not even
for me, the majority, the majority of my sales are Americans.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't tell the orange man in the tacky gold office, but I just say it's a gift and I cross my fingers. That's what I've been doing so far, and it's been okay. But
Sure.
Yeah.
I am considering legitimizing myself as a business, and then going down the appropriate channels eventually.
I think it's pretty straightforward. If and I forget what it's called, it's not the HST code, the tariff code that I've used when I send a box of figures down to to California. If you have the
Yeah.
right code on it as a and you have to go through a couple of steps, making sure that your figures are actual, they're limited. Signing, numbering them helps. I think identifying them somewhere on the packaging that it's made in Canada. I haven't had any issues with it, but the shipping cost is still there.
Yeah, the harmonization code, is that what you're talking
That's
about?
exactly it. Yeah, the harmonization code.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I don't know anything about that.
But
Yeah,
you
for
did
us,
nail
I
it,
know
man. The
when I
shipping in general. Sorry,
Ye-
B.
Oh, I was just gonna say, when at least in the States, when you're shipping an international package, they ask for a harmonization code. And usually, for me, what I learned that is if I take it to the post office and have them do it, and they look at it and see what it is, it's typically more. If I do it at home and you can just look up the harmonization code, and then it's long, man. That list, Magoob, I'm sure you've looked at it, man. That thing is extensive. They have
Yeah.
everything you could possibly think of categorized in there, but you start breaking it down into toys and then collectibles and stuff like that, and there's a certain code that
There's
you
a
put in
code and
there,
then a subcode. Yeah.
a code in the
Mhm.
subcode, that, and you drop that in there. And at least here, when you're shipping international, when you make a tag, you cannot proceed unless you put one of those codes in there. So you're kind of forced to look it up. But it turned out working for the better. But there's still that shipping cost, which is I think everybody knows. Even I think everywhere, I'm sure even Canada to Canada, I'm sure that went up as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
just, that's one of the bad things, or I don't want to say bad things. It's one of the rough things. I like that you can get your work pretty much anywhere in the world, and someone can get a piece from almost anywhere if they're willing to pay for it. But, if you're not doing a lot of local shows, and let's be honest, there's probably not a whole lot of local shows. And then do you have time to do, a table that's going to supply local shows over and over again? So, I guess the moral of that one is that shipping is, I think that hurt a lot of people. Um,
And along with that went the website. Like I used to have a big cartel site to list everything and
Right.
host everything, and you're paying monthly for that. And if you're just not getting the sales, then it's like everything starts to collapse under that. And again, that's I think the probably a symptom of me doing these large runs and trying to sell way too many figures, where I see other people that are just doing it straight through Instagram. They're not doing websites, they're not doing their own kind of commerce sites. So I don't know, there's ways that it's working for people. It hasn't, the way that I've been doing hasn't worked for me, so it's rethinking what that looks like.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't produce enough to honestly justify having a site at the moment, but
sure.
I want to get there eventually. And maybe I start doing more blanks and stuff like that, but I'm just such a slow painter. It takes me so long to make anything.
But they're incredibly detailed, dude. And going back to what you were saying, they take a while to do, but it's absolutely worth it, man. When you see I know you came from the, kind of the painting school, if you call it that, of the really small miniature, like the Warhammer type stuff, dude. And that,
Yeah.
you can see that reflected in your pieces now. So, and
I appreciate that.
I think that anybody who's not doing this full time, there has to be, at least from a collector and just a buyer standpoint, there's got to be some grace given there as far as, hey man, this guy's got a full-time job, he's got a family, he's got young kids. How much time, if you're not doing this full-time to sell, it's basically a hobby that, once in a while you get paid for, and you're hoping to probably just kind of make your money back on that. When you get
Oh,
into
if you're
that,
lucky.
yeah, if you're lucky, right? Like that's kind of the, it's a different ball game, and that kind of leads into what I was thinking about. Magoob, you can probably speak to this a little bit too. And then KEVY Cold Cuts as well, man. But it's like you guys have very different, like when you're making a run for DKE versus, KEVY Cold Cuts, where you're making, like one-offs and just kind of at your own pace, man. That's like a very different process across the board. But for Pope and for KEVY, do you guys ever, is that a goal of yours? Because I remember when I first came in at like around 2020, it seemed like that was a goal for a lot of people, was to get their piece, whether it was in DKE or what was the other shop, the
I
boot.
mean, let's be real. I think DKE is probably like the biggest one. That there's a
Yeah.
reason there's the hashtag deal with Dove. Right.
For sure.
I think there's a reason people feel very privileged when they have the opportunity to be able to work in arrangement with Dove where their work will be at DKE. But and I think I know where you're going. Like for Pope or KEVY or both, does that mean anything for you guys? Do you like the way you're kind of doing it, or like do you enjoy this idea of being on like a grander table, so to speak, maybe in the eye of collectors?
Yeah, like I don't. I think it's cool. I personally, I like. What does Dove require? Like, is it like the smallest runs are like 20? Is it?
I
Not
think I just
anymore.
went out of 10. Yeah, I think it's
No.
around
Not
like 5 or
anymore,
10
yeah.
now. Yeah.
The last show, the Garbage Pail Kids one, and again, that was kind of a sideshow, but that was 5.
Oh,
5.
wow.
Okay. Well,
So
hmm,
that's a big
I get.
adjustment right there, man. That says a lot right there, especially coming from him on
Hmm.
kind of how, how many he can realistically move. So,
But he's carrying a lot of artists' work as well, you
yeah.
know?
The site's
And
extensive. I get on there sometimes.
yes.
I'll just like browse and like put in somebody's name, and there's almost
Yeah.
always you can find like somebody you know. It's pretty cool. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's a really
Absolutely.
neat service.
Now,
But as far as hitting goals, I was just kind of like, I don't know. 5 maybe, but even that would probably take me like a month and a half.
I mean, Cabby Cold Cuts, you did some tabling recently, just like in the last like 2 months. Would you almost say that you prefer doing that type of sales versus the idea of shipping to like the states and fighting that shipping fee and tariffs and stuff?
I think it would really depend on the show, I guess. I do enjoy doing that stuff. I was a musician for years, so I like being in those venues and those situations around big groups of people and everyone kind of in that same state of mind or mind state. Everyone's really into this thing, and you get to kind of geek out with all these people and meet them. But at the same time, I love just dwelling in my cave here up in the Great White North. I like just being at home, and I think I would like to try and get a bit more as far as sales and stuff online and be shipping stuff out. And I would like to still do like Toy Riot and certain shows, and I would like to just get to a point kind of. I prefer doing it my way. The DKE thing is really cool, and anyone who does that stuff, it's a cool idea. I just have fun doing all the stuff, the real punk rock sort of approach to it. I just enjoy it. Yeah, I would just like to get to a point where I could have the funds to, just break even more or less with the supplies I need to do these things and get my ass down to Toronto and a few other places. But yeah.
And Pope, man, I mean, might as well do like the little rounds here for yourself. Like, have you had a chance to do many like tabled events or anything? No,
No.
fair.
I sent some stuff up to Abe for Decon when he did that, and that was cool. Like we sold a few there. And I did send up a few to the Toronto Toy Riot, but if I'm being honest, it was kind of I don't want to call it a rush job, but like I just kind of sent up stuff that was already done. And they were some Grems that had been sitting around for a little while, and like I like Grems, like they're my own little figure. I think they're neat, but they're not my coolest thing. So they didn't really move, and Scott's still holding on to them for me. But I personally haven't been to anything yet. I'm hoping to do the Toronto Toy Riot next year.
I know
Fingers crossed.
the boys have a show on Saturday. Like, do you know if they're going to be carrying any of the work that they brought with them that was sent to them to the Toronto Toy Riot? Is that something that they're going to be kind of bringing with them to the different shows they do this year? Do you know?
It was said that if there was stuff left over, they gave us the option to like we can send it back to you, and they said like no charge, but I was like that just doesn't feel right. Like I sent you toys, you didn't sell any of them, so you'd be sending them back on other people's dime. So I was like, can you just try to sell them? And I even like, so they're gonna try to. They did say if people wanted to have them ship them around a bit, they would. And I know I think it hit a. I think I saw them on a table somewhere else. I think Doc Horror posted a reel
Fuck yeah.
where there was a couple sitting on the table. So I think that was offered to everybody.
Nice.
and I just didn't want them to have to like when it comes time to mail them back, I'm like, I'll just let me pay for shipping. So didn't even sell any. So it's only 3, but it's expensive, man.
It is. It really, really is. Magoo, man, how would you basically like weigh it out with your time being either standing, tabling at an event, or paying or trying to get someone to pay high shipping costs? What would you almost kind of rather do? Would you rather get those online sales, or would you rather be at events and selling that way?
I know they do different things for me. I would prefer selling on my own and direct to the person that's buying the figure. Obviously, there's more money involved than even selling them through Dove. Obviously, you're paying for him and all the promotion and the tables that he has and the staff and the employees. Like, so there's lots of overhead costs that he has. So selling direct was always the better option. But the tabling, what I'm finding, number one, it's we don't have that many shows up here to do it at. So I was doing punk rock flea markets, and it's not necessarily the audience a lot of the time. So I still bring a lot of my figures there, and I'm selling other, I would say like dime store kind of tchotchkes. But I think KEVY was saying it's like I love the atmosphere, I love the environment, I love the energy that having 1,000 or 2,000 people show up at a show over the weekend, what that brings and what that does to you. And just even if I'm not selling a custom figure at all, and just all I'm selling are treasure trolls or whatever else I have at the table, I'm still satisfied with that.
Yeah, it's fun. It's cool. It's great to be in that environment, from time to time. And it's also really cool when you have someone come up, or you're at one of these events that maybe isn't directly for toys or anything specific. Like even at the Toronto Toy Riot, that hall we were doing that in, there was also so many other things going on, bands jamming and rehearsing and stuff, different artists coming in, and some people are just like blown away that like we do this thing, like that we make and craft our own toys and stuff. Like they were legitimately floored, you know what I mean? And that experience, that's always fun, to talk to someone who's genuinely like maybe almost even a little standoffish or something at first, and then they're just sold on the hands-on work and everything put into making these things. It's fun. It's fun.
Shout out to the dudes, actually. It was jokes this past week. Somebody was actually buying something at the place I work part-time, and they through that show now know about the show happening there this weekend, and we're like, hey, you going to that Toronto show on I'm like, damn, dude, like, as if you even remember that that's a thing and you enjoyed it that much that you're going to try and hit up this one this weekend. Like, that's really sick,
that's
man.
sick.
Yeah.
That's such a cool haul. That's a really cool haul. I enjoyed that spot, I guess that's a place in Toronto. They do a lot of like markets and stuff there, Crumbs, or?
To be honest, I think YOYODYNE was the first one to kind of bring it to my attention. They're a not-for-profit. They have, and so they basically rent out certain parts of it for different events as long as it aligns with kind of their goals and their visions in the community as well.
Cool.
But I personally haven't really heard about it. Magoob, have you heard much about the Transac?
I've heard of it, but only I think I knew there was a zine show that would show up there or happen there.
Yeah, there's a zine library upstairs, actually. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, but I haven't heard of like actual, kind of these kinds of events like the Toy Riot thing ever happening there.
Oh, no doubt.
And when you guys were approaching it, maybe some of the other shows you've done, they're often kind of very much almost curated art events. How do you feel about those, man? Like do those basically just bring attention to your work, or do you find you generate interesting sales from those, or what are your kind of opinions on those gallery type shows when you're doing toys?
I haven't done too many gallery type showings where I brought even anything that's sort of like, because before I started doing the toys, I would paint different things, like whether it be toys or just random stuff I would find. I would just kind of bring the paintings and stuff I would do. I would say oftentimes like at those sort of events, or just really any events in general, where it's say like they do a lot of like makers markets up here, right? Because there's so many people who do so many things, woodworking and this, that, and the other. And I definitely get some weird looks. I get some interesting looks for sure, for sure. But it generates a couple of interesting sales. I find there's more people. Maybe it's just because like I'm further up north than Toronto. There's more people where it's like, oh, you do this thing and you collect toys. Like I do that. I just didn't really ever want to tell anyone that type deal. Like I just sold someone something a couple of weeks back, and that's what they said. They're just kind of like, man, I've been collecting toys for a long time, but I just genuinely don't really ever talk about it.
And Magoob, how about yourself, man? I feel like you probably have some insights into that realm as well.
Into doing gallery shows?
Like gallery shows, yeah.
I think it's tough, right? And I was going to say, like doing those markets and doing those shows and the energy that I get and enjoying, talking to different people and, just kind of opening people's eyes to what else is out there. It is, to me, it's all exposure. And I think that was the intention behind doing DKE initially, is you're just in front of such a huge audience. And it just so happens that, now I'm kind of I don't want to say that I'm a fanboy of it, but it's like I enjoy see my work kind of on a global stage, right? So people that wouldn't have seen or come across me, at any of the shows that I had done in Toronto or Hamilton, they'll get access to it. But it's tough. There's always that conversion. I don't want to call them looky-loos, but initially they are kind of looky-loos and they're interested. And then maybe the second or the third time around, you've sparked their interest enough where they're willing, or they understand the value behind, that there's actual work behind it. And I think that's part of the challenge now, even with like new technologies out there and, 3D printing is, what people attach certain value to, a figure. Does it make sense that you're paying, an equal amount on a 3D printed figure that you are for something that's cast, a mold is made and cast. And it's like, again, everybody's going to have their own opinion. And I think as long as you know what you're buying and, you're okay with that, then if you're selling shit, then great, then sell.
Yeah. I find that those makers things and stuff like that, it's like that's a good selling point, is kind of what you're pointing out, the difference between 3D printing something and the fact that I'm sculpting and casting and doing all this stuff by hand. That alone, sometimes people are just like, I just want something because this is so cool that you do this by hand.
It's too bad because I've heard it a lot of times as people walk by my stuff and you're at, I'll say it's a punk rock flea market, so it's all supposed to be handmade. But the people there are, I don't want to say that they're uneducated, but they're not educated enough to know. Like they'll just throw out a comment and it's like, oh yeah, it's 3D printing. I've seen that before.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, like,
I
want to pull them back and like talk to them about it, but they're not a customer anyways. So it's like you're not gonna, I think, convert them into understanding or caring about the toy that you made.
It's not a dragon you downloaded off the internet.
Yeah, right.
Like an axolotl.
I think that's like two really different ways of selling too, man, because I think, just based on what indie toys is, I think a lot of it, as far as sales go, like sometimes I'll get wrapped up in just the story of how it was made or the process or maybe the artist alone. And man, I've bought a lot of pieces after those conversations that maybe I was kind of on the fence about before, but having that interaction with them, and maybe the story is not even that great, but they're just a great person and you want to support them. I think that's a real benefit to doing something in person too. But on the other hand, like Magoob was saying, like those DKE toy booths, man, when you stand back and you watch for hours on end and you kind of see the flow and how that works and how his booth is like very strategically set up to kind of draw people into that aisle of artists. Like it is a straight up showcase of worldwide artists on that stage, and to have your stuff I would think that any artist that has something on that table is also feeding off the other artists that are getting looks, especially when you have stuff like Star Wars or something where anybody walks by where you get those looky-loos and they go, oh, I know someone who likes Star Wars. Oh, that could be a gift for, oh, I know somebody who does this. And they start looking around and they go, oh, Star Wars. Oh, Always Sunny. Oh, and they start, seeing all this different stuff. Like you said, man, when you do deal with him and there's a price tag on it for your stuff, like that's a great indicator of what you're paying for right there, is that that being on that stage and even being in that store. But again, two completely different ways of selling. I like the direct, just talking to somebody, but then again, there's the stage of being on DKE, but you're also in competition, I guess, right? When you go into that store as a buyer, I wish that I could buy one of everything, but you end up putting stuff in your cart and then you start eliminating stuff and go, well, this is what's left, then kind of say that stuff. So there's a little bit of competition there, but I mean, overall, I think if people are buying from you, either way you look at it is a good thing. I do like the interaction. I do think that's something that's really unique about the scene, is the smaller markets, even the bigger ones, Designer Con, but the smaller shows too, like AR, and even some of the local, just toy shows in general. I think a lot of sales probably, hinge on some of those interactions as well. So.
I think a key point in selling in person and directly sometimes is just having and it's not easy for everybody to do this, and it's probably not even possible for everyone to do it, but just have items that are available at different price points. Like when you're doing a show like DKE, the people that are going there, they kind of see that this is the going rate for figures. And yeah, there's still a scale involved there, but when I have a table and all I'm selling is, $65 to $75, custom figures, it's hard for somebody to get in to dip their toe in the water. But if you have something that's $10, $15, $20, again, it might not be the thing that they love, but it's something that it'll remind them of that interaction. And then maybe the next show you'll convert them into something a little bit pricier. But again, it's not easy. Not everybody, especially if you're hand painting figures, to sell something for under, that $20 mark. That's almost impossible.
Yeah.
And I'll use Popet as example, man. Like, I think that it's been pretty much across the board where everybody says like, you, as far as painting stuff goes, especially small detailed stuff, like, are you really getting your money back out of what you're putting into that? Absolutely not. I think that's a good example of, God, dude, it's like if you did charge for your time on stuff like that, you would never sell anything. And to your point,
No.
man, when you have the higher price stuff too, like especially at a show, or for someone who's not a serious collector and doesn't know what that is already, even more, you have to have that interaction and probably really sell them on more than just the look, and let them know, hey, this is hand casted, this is not 3D printed, and then just go down the line. But yeah, it's a tough one, man. Especially with the higher dollar stuff, unless they're just really hell bent on having that piece. That's a tough one.
Yeah, I know for me, like I've kind of come to terms with like just I've come up with a number, and I don't know if it makes sense, but I'm basically looking at when I do a fully painted figure, I try to do about $10 an hour is what I'm leaning into, and then I'll round down a bit sometimes if it goes really long, but and I'm not counting mold making time. I'm not counting like the pouring the resin, because I mean that's whatever, like, some of the double cast stuff I'm doing is like that takes not physically touching anything, but the clear resin I've been using for the latest figures is like you can't drill it until it's cured for like 2 days. So like it's fine. I make it and just let it sit. Like I can demold it within, I think it's about 16 hours, and then I can pour another one. But I can't. And I've been I'll date the bottoms of them now, like so that I know it's safe to drill. Because if you drill it too early, it like, I don't know if anyone here's ever drilled like still wet resin, but it
Just gummy.
It sucks and it wrecks everything. It tears is what it does, really. So,
Yeah.
but I could just buy better resin too. But I'm like, well, I already have like a gallon and a half of this stuff. I got to use it. Like, I don't want to throw it away.
Well, let's be honest too. Like you're already like Kevy has mentioned it a couple times tonight. Magoob mentioned like we're all starving artists. It's kind of like yeah, how do you when you're already trying to just break even on your materials? How do you grab the materials? How do you make sure you're utilizing everything you have? You know, it becomes a lot, man. And like out of curiosity, I mean, $10 an hour, like for Magoob and Kevy, like how do you guys start trying to weigh in your time? Like, what do you kind of mentally pay yourselves, or is it just a write-off?
I don't even bother looking at it. Honestly, I make the thing and I throw a number at it where it's like it's high enough where I think it's okay.
Yeah.
And low enough where I want to sell it. I would rather price it low and sell it out than to price it too high and just have it sit and I'll talk about like DK, just like have it sit on the shelf on his website, because that doesn't do him any good, doesn't do me any good. So I'd rather price things low and just get rid of them. And hopefully, you know, repeating that number of times, you build up an audience that will eventually pay a higher price. But, you know, rewind to the beginning of the conversation of where things kind of are in the market, you know.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm curious, and this is something that kind of comes up often, actually. Would you say that the access to information now has meant that maybe some collectors are makers, and that's kind of divided even a good chunk of the market?
Yeah, potentially. I don't know about you guys like Pope and Kevy, but I don't get people messaging me nearly as much as I used to about how to do certain things. Like I was just you know, open doors, ask any question. I mean, I don't appreciate information vampires that they want you to hold their hand through the entire process. But if you have specific questions, I have no problem sharing that. But I haven't even in that world, probably in the last couple of years, maybe even longer, I haven't heard from anybody interested in so I can't say that's the case for me.
I've had a few people reach out, and like we've ended up becoming, you know, like internet friends over it. So it doesn't happen a lot though. Like, I mean, I don't know what it would have been if I'd been doing this, you know, pre-COVID or something. But I've maybe had, I think probably 3 people at this point who like really did like a lot of back and forth, and like I'm sending links to like, here's where I bought this, here's this product, here's that. Like I don't advertise it, but like if you've got a question about anything, it's like, yeah, if I can help you, I'm happy to. I love it. That's half the fun, is talking to people and figuring stuff out. So
it's not cheap. I don't think a lot of people realize how expensive the materials are. And with the advent of like 3D printing, I think, and again, maybe they're thinking that everything is 3D printed and, you know, they're just going to go to Amazon and buy a $300 or $200 printer and make their own stuff, download a thing. And so who knows?
And on the 3D printing thing, something I've been hearing a bit of lately too is like it might not be like it doesn't last, I guess. Like I maybe this is more the filament, but I've heard of like print rot is a thing now.
Really?
So, with the FDM prints.
It's just the FDM?
Just the filament stuff, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's like those older filament print jobs, and it could even be one type of material. So if you've got something you're going to say, you probably know way more than me. So I'm just gonna.
No, you're right. Like, yeah, it depends on the material, but the resin, the liquid resin printers, the SLA or whatever they're called, the tech is called. I don't know that it's been on the market long enough to know what the shelf life. Like, I have some prototype prints. So I did use at one point a printer to print a prototype and still make a mold and those things, because it's all UV resin. It's still UV reactive. So who knows, 5-10 years from now, and does it make a difference if they're painted, if they're protected? I have no idea. I have I mean, something like something that's printed solid, and if it's not drained properly, like there's still probably liquid resin in the bottom of that thing.
Could be, yeah.
So what I try to do is make molds as quick as I can, make sure that everything's working, and then just expect that, you know, if this lasts, great, but I'm never going to be able to probably go back to it, I don't think, to make other molds. But I don't know. It's a good question. What is the longevity of that stuff?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. And actually, you know what? Something I ran into. There's these guys here, and I've already talked to B in like a message about it or whatever because he inquired about them. But I stopped selling these guys because their ankles are pretty thin, and because of the way they're posed. Let me see if I can. So there. So he stands pretty good, but because their ankles are thin, I found that if I set them up on a shelf that's not like perfectly level, they'll droop like over time and then actually fall over. So I stopped selling them, and I did reach out to everyone who bought one, and only one guy actually did have an issue with them. But yeah, I don't know if that's something I didn't consider could be an issue for longevity stuff, but like.
So it's true
It
to real
sucks.
toys. Real toys barely stand up.
Yeah, I know, but this is supposed to be better than those, I guess.
Yeah,
So
right. Well,
It- you
yeah.
know-
To that point too, I sold a one-off at Fan Expo here 7 years ago, 6 years ago, and the guy that had bought the one-off, it was I don't know if anybody remembers, I did a Darth Dad. It was like a Simpsons body Darth, and he was like flipping burgers on a Death Star grill. He set it up right in his window, so not only was it getting blasted with sunshine all day, it was also dealing with the heat fluctuations, and some part of it,
right.
the barbecue broke or something, and it was just like, I don't know. It's not that you have to be, a museum kind of atmosphere, but you need to somewhat treat them a little bit delicately.
Don't throw it in the back windshield of your car.
Yeah,
No,
take into consideration what it's made out of for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always worried about heat, just because in the summertime here, man, it gets up to, we have those 30 to 60-day stretches of over 100 degrees, 100 to 105. And even if you have AC, just against the walls stuff starts to warm up a little bit. I would say that I have, the problem that you described, Pope, where the figures are folding over like that. I definitely have some like that. I would say for the most part, I'd say 95% are not like that. But I have other ones that, and I've never reached out to an artist to say, why is this? Because they probably don't know. But there's some that I have with all kinds of weird stuff, man, where they get very sticky on the bottom. And if I'm putting them on like a tiered, like clear, shelving or something like that, they'll actually stick to that. I have
It's
other
always
ones.
the soft resin, right? It's always that like rubber. I find that
And I
it
have these
sweats or something.
Yeah, so the sweating is exactly right, man, and that's what I'm talking about. But I have other ones that are 3D printed that are that sweat as well, and it's the weirdest thing, dude, because that's exactly what it is. You look on it, then you rub your finger on, you're like, what is that, dude? I don't know, but and it's and it's
Got me touching all my
they're
toys now to make sure we're good.
no, and they're one-offs. They're all one-offs. I can't say, oh, I always buy from this guy, this artist, and they're always like this. None of them are like that. It's all one-off stuff where, like, some of them where they fold over is like, I don't know. You guys would have to tell me how does it happen? Does it not does that not curing long enough? Because even when you get some of them that I've got, when you purchase them, like right away you notice like, oh, there's definitely some flex in this. This is not going to be good if it ever heats up. But they kind of do what Pope is saying. They'll stand there and they'll be good for a little while. Then the next thing you know, they just start kind of doing like this and like this. Next thing you know, you hear a crash, and it's like, damn, how did that happen?
One of the biggest ones I've noticed with that is going to be if somebody's using liquid dyes instead of like mica powders. But either way, if you because you're throwing off the plastic ratios, right? And I'm sure like all the homies in the room know you've got an A, you've got a B. Like you can only manipulate it so much with the dyeing of it before you're now playing with the consistency of that plastic once it cures. And sometimes, especially if you're newer to it, you really want that dense color. Maybe you're not using an opaque resin, you're using something that's going to actually cure translucent. So you're adding way too much coloring agent to it, and it's just not going to be the same chemical property at the end, right?
Well,
Yeah.
to that point though, the ratio, how was it mixed? Was it weighed? Was it was it just visual, like
Sure.
Yeah, I know mine's all eyeballed. That's the way I do it.
Yeah, I'm terrible
Yeah.
for that as well. And I know you guys all have been there before, where you get to the very end and you're pouring your last pour and you have a whole bunch left in the one and the other one's empty and you're like, oh, I've been fucking up every pour.
Yeah, every one of
Yeah,
them.
like,
Yeah. No, I know. I think one thing with these guys, like I do use, it could be resin type as well. Like I use Illumulate opaque as my like go-to resin. It does have like it's really flexible. Like it's good for that. Like I can do this and I'm not breaking this super thin sword. Like I like that feature that it has.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas my more rigid resin, if I tried to do that, it would break. But which is the clear stuff that I have. But those figures, I've done this figure in that clear resin and they didn't sag, they didn't fall. So like, yeah, I think it's something to do with the softness of the resin. It could be heat. It could be like maybe I did mix, like Crumbs was saying, like putting alcohol ink does mess up. It messes up the chemistry. But you know, even I dye with mica in my resin. I'll pour mica powder in. But if I really want like a hard, vibrant color, it's not going to work. Like it's too soft. And I have noticed that the ones that droop and fall over and are more flexible usually are like the brighter colors. So I put everything in now with like it's like a salt shaker. I'll like no more than 3 taps for like a full toy, and then it's barely any color. I don't have any here, but like it's almost not even worth doing. I may as well just be printing them white because I'm painting them and doing the mica powder cold cast. But
Yeah.
I can't do it with no color. Feels weird.
And I think coming from, just like what you guys were saying about some of these, mediums being rather new, somebody said that they haven't been, they also haven't been in a Slipshot said they haven't been in their shop long enough to actually see what happens to those. I agree, man. And that's part of, you know, buying stuff that is homemade and they're, could be, very small runs or one-offs or whatever they are. But, everybody kind of puts that disclaimer on there sometimes that like, hey, there could be errors, but I think you have to go even beyond that and say, you don't have to say it, but I think you have to realize as someone who's buying that, that's a 3D print or something like that, that like, hey, in maybe a couple years, this may not look the same. Just like somebody said, that I think it was Suki said that even some of the resin yellows and stuff like that. And I have some of those pieces too. I have other ones that look, as flawless as the day that I bought it. And they're stored in the exact same spot right next to each other. So, who knows the rhyme or reason why that stuff happens? I'm sure it has to do with materials and all kinds of stuff. But that is one of the things about collecting, that sometimes stuff changes over time. It's just kind of the way it is.
Well,
Yeah.
3D printing, it was meant for rapid prototyping. Like it wasn't meant
Sure.
for archival purposes, right? Like it's
Sure.
you have to choose the right materials. So the fact that Pope, you're using Illuminate and some other people are using Smooth On. I mean, those are the right materials to be using. They all have their own properties. But yeah, 3D printing is definitely not in that world of, at least it hasn't been yet. I don't think anybody's come out with any archival resins and filaments that will stand the test of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I mean, realistically, maybe that's a good thing. One of the things we hear quite often is that some of these plastics that we're all kind of obsessed with are going to sit in landfills at some point forever. Maybe it is kind of a good thing that these don't actually have that longevity.
But you know what the problem is with that, though, sometimes, and I've seen it or heard it directly, is when somebody has a bad experience with one toy maker, and it's because of a bad choice of materials, then that kind of permeates, and it's like that experience carries over to everybody else, and then it's extra work on everybody else to kind of like, no, we're all different. We all use different materials. We're all different practices. Again, is there a difference between somebody that's casting in a pressure pot or not casting in a pressure pot? We like to use those as kind of selling points, but
Yeah.
it does the industry or kind of our little group a disservice when we're not putting out the best work that we can do and make sure that everybody's experience is as good as it can be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And actually, I like B was saying, I have one figure from one other maker that did he drooped a bit. And the fix for it was I just I boiled a kettle, got it boiling, poured it into a bowl, and then dipped his feet into the hot water for like a couple seconds, and then put it on a plate and held it upright, and then poured cold water on it to lock it in. And that did fix it. It might droop again. I don't know. But it did work with these guys as well that I've had the issue with. But like since I've had the issue, I'm kind of like, I'm just gonna not sell them, whatever. And any toys I have that now I'm nervous to sell stuff. So I actually, that's part of it, is they sit on a shelf. Like I'm just like, yeah, I got them sitting over here. Like now it's like they got to sit and ferment for like a month before I'll even offer them up to people. Like I don't
never
want
know,
them
though.
to fall down.
Yeah.
I mean, I had problems with card backs. I was getting card backs printed, and it was one supplier specific. I was paying a premium for these cards, and they started to delaminate. And all of a sudden, I go into full panic mode that I've sent out, these figures that I was selling for $60 or $75 or whatever it was,
Right.
and they're starting to delaminate. And it's like, how do you talk your way out of that? And
Well, it looks bad on you, right?
That's what I'm saying. And it's like, even if I reach out to the printer and complain about it, and they say, okay, well, we'll just refund you the print job, that does nothing. The $400 that I got back for printing the card backs does nothing to, for those customers that have these cards. So I, put together little repair kits. Haven't had anybody reach out to let me know that they needed a repair kit, but I mean, that's again just the reality, and that's why I tend to do my card backs myself now. I don't send that out. I glue them up myself.
Can't trust anybody.
Yeah.
Dude, I would say not having that control, yeah, that would be hard too, man, to be trying to be, because I think that is really important what you said, Magoob, about especially drawing in new customers or collectors to the scene who don't really know, and they start off on the bad foot with something that I could see, them not wanting to even try anybody else again, just because it is kind of a niche thing. But on the other hand, I think people who do know and that have been in it know that sometimes that, that's a shitty part of it, but it is a part of it at the end of the day, which, but I agree with you, man, having control over that. That, dude, I always think that the people that are doing it 100% themselves, from packaging to marketing to pouring, painting, whatever it is, I mean, that's a whole bunch of different skills right there, all wrapped up into one. And then delivering at the end, man, you got your soft social skills that you really gotta sharpen up too, especially if you're just doing in-person shows, and then your online stuff too, if you're just doing it online. So you got to fine tune some of that too. So it's $400 for card backs, Folklore said.
Yeah, that was and just to let everybody know, that was Moo. If you ever shop through moo.com, premium, super laminated, super thick, and it happened twice. I even confirmed with them the second time that the problem had been fixed. They're like, yeah, we switched to new adhesives, and then it happened again, and that's the last time I ever used Moo. Yeah,
Damn.
so don't be fooled by the price. Just because it's expensive doesn't mean it's quality. So I'll learn my lesson with those guys.
If you don't mind me asking, is there a reason that you go card back on some of your figures?
It's always been the thing that's attracted me, I don't know, there's something, and maybe it's because my graphic design background is I like seeing all the artwork around the figures. It's the blisters, and I know people like to display them, and again, looking at B's display, and it's like all the loose figures that are standing there. So I know I'm shooting myself in the foot by not offering, loose figures. But what I've started to do with some of the figures and the warps that I'm doing is the blisters are stapled on. So again, it's part of the aesthetic of the warps kind of look and feel. But if you're so inclined, you could easily just pry open those staples and pull the blister off, pull the figure off the card, rather than gluing or taping them down. I've been kind of rethinking that as well.
Dude.
And
that's stapled, isn't it?
What's that?
That one's stapled?
Yeah, that one's stapled.
Yeah.
But that's awesome, man. That's a great looking Look at that card back.
Thank
Nice.
you.
Ooh.
Thanks.
But you bring up
Yeah,
a really
I'm
interesting.
not like. I was gonna say I'm not big on packaging, but like, it's really nice packaging here.
It is. And
Nice.
look, dude, and how I don't know how old this is. This is a few years old, dude, but there's like no, I mean, it's still freaking straight.
Nice.
You know, some of them have, warped over the years, even being in cases or on the wall, but
Yeah.
this one is, I mean, that's pretty freaking.
That's good to see. Yeah,
Mint.
I forget who I used as the printer for that one, but they
Yeah,
did
it's a
me
good
well.
Yeah, it's a good one.
So that brings up a good point though, where how do you when you're trying to quote unquote like make money or even make back sales on some of your work, how do you kind of make that cross between your own desires, your own art, how you want it to look, and also appealing to the masses? Like, is there a compromise, or is it kind of a fuck y'all, I'm making what I want, and if it catches an eye, it catches an eye?
That one.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah. Pretty much, man. Pretty much. I'm gonna do what I want.
Yeah, I know for me, like I just do the bags with the stapled header, um, but I've gotten to the point where like I don't even put the arms on them anymore because I don't want them to break in the bag. So
Oh.
the arms are in here,
And what do
but
you
it's a
have?
resealable bag.
What are those little
You
pockets
can
right there? What are those little? Do you have like some kind of nubbins over the arms, or are you using peg
oh
articulation?
yeah, those are the Lego pegs. That's just this one is this was just I just did it to hold the cape on. Because the cape was kind
That's
of hard to
neat.
the cape was hard to put on, so I didn't want the guy who this is going to have to like fight with it. So
That's
now
great.
the cape is on, and you
Pegs come
just
out, arms
Oh,
go
here.
in.
nice. Nice.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, that's all
Cute.
that is.
Sick.
Yeah.
But again, like the arms are in a bag, bubble wrapped. It looks cooler when they're complete in the bag, but at the same time, like I don't. Like I said, I'm not super big into packaging myself. Like I can appreciate a nice package, crumbs. But but it's just not where I'm trying to be, I guess.
But even that right there, man, that's clean packaging right there,
I
And
try.
same with Magoob's. I mean, Magoob's packaging for those figures, that one that I have, but the regular ones, those came in that packaging that you have, Crumbs. And I took them out because I have them displayed in the cabinet like this. There's a little row of them, but that packaging right there, dude, that's some of the best all-time packaging in the indie toy scene, man. The
Well,
first time I
thank you.
saw that and I read that, I didn't really know what was going on. I'm reading that and I'm just like, is that real? That sounds real. You know?
What's jokes is right down to the whatever your Mylar bag is. Even that feels like your like drugstore random rack toy knockoff grab. No, it's a
It's like a candy
smart
bag.
piece. It's smart, man.
I'm looking at that. Is that sun faded? Is that what's going on that card?
Oh yeah, sorry. You were talking about that earlier about the homie too.
Yeah.
And oh yeah, dude, look at like I'm so sorry. The bottom
He's like,
that's
hold up.
that's what color
bottom
it
is
should be.
perfect. Yeah,
That's what color it's supposed to be.
that looks good. That
And
looks so
I
much.
don't know what. Clearly, I must have had something in front of it at one point because
Yeah.
there's one little part of red still there. Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
Magoob.
Wow,
That's
that is
okay.
funny, dude.
Brutal.
I think that actually looks
Sorry,
really awesome though.
It's like a real toy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
I'm just going on a date without shaving or something. Fuck, boys. Damn. Kevy, man, how do you pick for packaging on that? Like, especially on, maybe it's different when you're tabling or something, but do you kind of pre-package your stuff? Do you generally have it kind of sitting on the shelf waiting for sale? Like, how do you navigate that?
It all depends, really. Like some stuff I pre-package. I like doing the package art. I like the bags with the headers for sure. I prefer that. I like that Japanese sort of style they do with the kaiju figures and stuff. I just like the way that looks. Quick, it's easy, it's cheap. I like doing it like that. But I usually have a few bagged up and ready to go, but I tend to wait until I'm doing a show where I've sold them before I actually package. Much like they're saying, I like to let them sit for a little while to make sure everything's good to go and nothing's gonna fall apart or fade or any weird stuff.
There's actually a
No,
funny story of it was Angry Beast story, but he was doing a punk rock flea market, and all his figures were all loose on display. But he does the baggies with the header cards. So somebody probably didn't know that they came packaged at some point. Bought a figure. So Angry Beast grabbed the figure, and while they're talking, he slides it in the bag and puts a header card, staples it down, hands it over to the customer. And at that point, they're just like, what do I do now? I have to open this. They're kind of taken aback that they thought they were getting this loose figure, but now it's a whole different beast in itself. It's packaged. Do you take the header card off and display it? And I don't know, I thought that was kind of funny that it doesn't matter if you go baggies, header cards. So seeing Pope, doing the opening at the bottom, I think that's kind of the compromise of, you're able to free them without ever having to peel that header card off the top.
Dude.
Yeah, I think my first run was the other way. They were not resealable, and that was kind of a little bit of a just like audience feedback, I guess. It was kind of like, I think even B was just kind of like, I like when you can open them, and I was like, yeah, okay, like
I always had this
makes
feel above.
sense.
I know I go against the grain with that. I don't know, maybe I like to torture customers a little bit, but
I can appreciate both, but I know for me, like I have actually, there's been a couple times where like an unopenable card art has kind of stopped me from buying a toy. So I get it. I don't want to collect packaged toys, but I also don't want to destroy a beautifully packaged toy. So I get it.
Well, nothing's unopenable. Let's just start there.
Yes,
I've
I
got
know.
plenty of those where you're just like, I'm not supposed to open this, but I'm going to open this. But I do like that. I mean, even when like if the Ziploc bag was the other way, I have plenty where I take the staples out, slowly, and then take them out of the header card, and then put everything back, even the staples, put those back in the bag, and then you just save that. The real shame, though, right, is some of the header card art. I mean, holy smokes, dude. I've put together some little just collages of just random stuff. And man, there's some badass art, including the Magoob stuff. But all those header cards, whether it's a header or a backer or whatever it is, those are always cool too, man. But I do like the option that you have there, where you can take it out. I'm gonna probably, take it out of the package anyways. All that being said, man, I think I said on the last show or maybe the show before, the last maybe 5 or 6 resin figures that I've bought are all in the bag, and they look so damn good in the bag. I mean, they're made to come out, but I'm probably gonna leave them in the bag, dude. Some of them are the ones from D. Pruitt, and they're not. The bag isn't really big or anything, but it just looks like such a clean presentation. It's almost a shame to take them out and then just put half of that package away and never see it again, because sometimes that is part of the whole. I think I said package too many times for Krubs. He's just about ready to flip over there. But I mean, that is some of it sometimes, right? Is the package. Oh, let me give you an example real quick, right? So this piece isn't all about the packaging, but holy shit, right? This is the gold skull.
You just wanted an excuse to show off your brand new gold skull.
Oh, I was gonna show it off anyways, but this is not from Canada. But this is gold skull. But look at the packaging for this, dude. I mean, this is standard with his stuff.
That's
I mean,
damn,
dude,
it's like a shoebox.
yeah,
oh,
damn.
dude. And all his pieces are like that, no matter what the scale is. If it's smaller, it's just a smaller box. But then
Wow.
he's got the header in there, and then the plastic. And this is something that I think I really noticed a difference too, is the thickness of this bag. I don't know what you guys
big old
feel about
thickies
that,
for those
but
vinyls.
for the vinyls, yeah, it does do something a little bit different. But he's got a couple stickers in there too. But that's just, we were talking about packaging, and packaging is some of it. I mean, packaging is not the reason I bought this piece, but it sure adds to it, and it starts to justify the price on some of the stuff. Sometimes you're like, oh shit, I'm getting more. This is. You can tell that like a lot of work in that went into that, and there's a price for it. I mean, I kind of feel like I'm getting a deal. When you look at it like that, was like, oh well, shit, the packaging's cool too.
absolutely.
No, as
Get
collectors,
a free box to put all your Pokemon cards.
Oh. Do you guys hoard the collect the art that you get from your stuff as well, like header cards, backers, all that jazz?
And do exactly what Beast does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything comes off, goes back in the baggie, and gets put away in the cabinet. I mean, I don't display it, but I like to keep it. Staples and all. Everything goes back in the bag, gets sealed up.
Yep.
Yeah,
Right.
100%, 100%. Some stuff too, like the piece I got at Toy Ride from Edwin. The whole thing Edwin's doing is kind of taking these bootleg toys that are already made and everything. He's making the headers, right? Like that's pretty much what I'm paying for. Yeah, so
Agreed,
it all
dude.
depends on the piece, right? It all depends on what I'm getting and from who. But love that, dude. Super cool.
Yeah, I agree, dude. I mean, if you just bought that loose, it's got a totally different.
Yeah,
it's got a totally different vibe to it, right?
Yeah,
that's cool, man. That's a great example for sure. Grayskull says, "I like people. I like making people open my shit." I don't know if I've. I think all the stuff that I bought from Grayskull is loose, and then Connor Grays, what's up, dog? And then he bags it up as you buy it. But you know, actually, no, he's got other. I think he's got header cards on some of them.
I was a douchebag, and admittedly, I had one trick make up a swamp thing for DNS, and it was on one of those like meat trays, like it's packaged like meat and everything. And I told him to write a note that basically said he only gets it if he opens it. And DNS was sitting there staring at it, being like, "Dude, I can't open this." And his wife came up behind, was like, "Oh, give me a break!" Just ripped it right in half, fucking tore it open. Homie's just looking at it like, "Oh, okay." I was like, "There it is, man." Like,
done.
it's a toy, you know, and like for you guys again, like, because I'm sure you all play with toys, you love collecting these pieces, but how do you feel about your art and that fine line of toy? Like, is it meant to be touched and handled, or is it meant to display the work that you're making? Pope, I saw you nodding along there. Where do you stand on this, man?
Yeah, I mean, my thing, I would hope that anyone who buys my stuff is probably going to hold it and maybe display it on a shelf or something. I just think that's the cooler way to do it. I mean, or I guess you could hang it on a pegboard with the bubble wrapped arms still sitting in a bag. But no, and full disclosure, a thing for me is like when I first made packaging, I was kind of rushing through it. I didn't love the packaging. I just kind of banged it out, and I will admit here right now, I used a little bit of AI for some of the just background stuff. Actually, my logo used to be AI too. I don't do that anymore. I have learned the sins of my past. I didn't know how terrible it was, and to my credit, even Craftsman was talking about AI not being such a bad thing back then. So, you know, give me a little window of grace. I don't do it anymore. I have since redesigned my packaging. I still have some of the old stuff laying around. I don't know if it's going to go out or not, but sorry, but I don't care that much about my packaging.
That was a
say,
great
like,
Canadian sorry right there.
Throw that in there. I don't really care actually. My buddy, like I was saying, that just bought something off me a couple of weeks ago. That was after he bought it, like 20-30 minutes after he messaged me. He's like, "Is it cool to open this? Like, what's the protocol here?" And I was like, "Rip it open, man. Whatever you want to do. Like, you know, I want you to enjoy it and display it however you want." So I don't know. Even if I do put a lot of work and effort and all this stuff into the packaging, I think it's just part of it. Kind of like Grayskull was saying, I like knowing that someone's going to rip that open and enjoy it. You know, it's got that new toy smell.
yeah, there you go. That is a plus too, man. When something comes freshly painted, oh man, what a great smell to open that up and smell those toxic fumes, man. Toxic Fumes Toys, shout out, what's up, dog?
Where do you stand on that, my friend?
I think whoever had said it's like whoever's buying it, they can do whatever they want with it. My opinion is some of the, or maybe a lot of my stuff, it doesn't hold up as well on its own outside the packaging from a display standpoint. And Space Warps is maybe a good example. I don't know that I would have sold as many of those Space Warps as I did if they were just loose figures. I don't know that the figures on their own did a whole lot, but I think with the packaging around them, to see a wall of 9 of those figures carded, displayed, just hits a lot differently than if those figures were just displayed loose. But whatever you want to do with it, it doesn't hurt me either way. What would probably upset me if they weren't tested to stand up on their own and somebody was expecting for them to stand up on their own. I don't always test a lot of my figures to make sure because they are on card.
Yeah, and like your Space Orbs figures, I mean, like the packaging is definitely part of that piece. Like it just makes sense to me. That makes sense.
All right, gents, we're getting up to the hour and a half mark. Is there anything that any of you would like to display, show off, or tell us before we kick you out of here? Kevy, why don't we start with you, my friend? Anything you want to let us know before we get you out of here, bro?
Always working on new stuff. Got new figures, new things coming out this summer for sure. Just posted some art for this guy here. I say show that off. The shrunken demon monkey head.
Ooh, I like that. That's cool.
Yeah. I got a couple of these on the way. Again, like I said, I do, 2 to 3 in a sort of original colorway, and then I just kind of mess around with different colors and stuff and variants. But yeah, a bunch of different figures and stuff coming this summer. Stay tuned. Of course, I just did a couple reprints on the comic books. I got those. These actually did really well. I was really surprised. That made me really happy. I sold quite a few of these at Toy Riot and stuff too, so that was awesome. Yeah.
Hell yeah, love that, man. Bam.
Boom.
Pope, anything you want to get off your chest?
Sure, yeah. I'd like to show off some other Canadians here. We got KEVY Cold Cuts.
Nice. I was gonna say that looks familiar.
KEVY has nailed that
it's so good.
That patina, aged they've really got that down, dude. It always looks like it's actually metal.
It does, yeah. No, that's a great one. Disease, Doc Horror.
I love that Doc Horror one, man. The Easter Egg Island one.
Yeah.
Gray Skull.
Ooh, nice one, dude. That orange brown. Yowza.
Fake name.
Fake name.
Yeah, those colors, dude. Yo, that Vaughn fake name creature you have. Oh, if you start chugging that syrup, you're disgusting. Oh, I knew it. Oh, okay.
Our compliments.
That's the Canadians.
Oh, that's it. He's gone.
Magoob, anything you want to drop on us before we kick you out of here, friend?
No, just working on stuff in the background. Got the next decon, the November decon release. It's all already packaged up. I'll hang off on showing that until it's closer to the show. But slowly plugging away. So yeah, thanks for having me on, and happy Canada Day to everyone.
Thanks for coming, man. Peace out. Bam. Oh. Hey.
There we are.
That was dude, I knew it was going to. And what's so gross about that is when we were starting tonight, I told myself, I'm like, oh yeah, I bet B would love it if we just started off. I just chug a glass of syrup. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I don't need to puke on fucking podcast.
A thing? Do people sip on that up there? Is that a thing?
No, that is not a thing. We do not. We do not naturally just sip on syrup.
I was gonna say that's pretty savage. I haven't seen that one.
If anything, I'm almost positive it's Super Troopers, and this is like kind of a well-known movie fact at this point. But I guess the point where they're both chugging it, and the one dude's like sweating and tapping the table is because one of them had been given tea, and the other had been given just straight up maple syrup. So the one guy is just chugging it like nothing, kind of looking like the fuck. Well, meanwhile, other homie is like straight up actually chugging maple syrup, and so his reaction in that scene is apparently actually completely real because syrup is fucking viscous and sweet and a lot. But damn, dude. Okay. I feel like we could have easily done the whole 2 hours talking to those dudes because
easy.
There's so many differences, but so many similarities, and so many, like, even when I think about the Magoob Space Warp figures, and then I kind of think about the way that KEVY Coldcut sculpts, I'm like, there's some, like, at the end of the day, his, like, for me, this is kind of like his, like, a Swamp Thing. I know it's his Tarman, but when I see, like, a Swamp Thing like this, and I think of, like, the Space Warp figures and shit, you're like, okie dokie, you know?
Dude, the scale of that one that he showed in the bag, what was that all about, dude? That blew me away.
Yeah, KEVY's got some really big pieces. If anything, His turtle piece, actually, if I got, it just so happens I've got one of each of these guys right here, but if you
Nice.
consider like a 3.75, I've got the Pope one here, and then you consider the KEVY cold cut turtle, like there's quite a difference in scale, man.
For sure.
And then I think I've shown this one off almost like annually. I feel because this is like one of those grailers, and it's kind of funny because Magoob's like I don't really do one-offs. And it's like, but well, these prototype evaders back in the day, like they were all kind of one-offs when you think about the different patterning of like the limbs and stuff, and
Yeah.
like this is that caliber of work, like, and we see it in LM9's pieces. But we just don't see this kind of work anymore. Like just large scale. The more resin you handle and touch, the more I feel like you can kind of tell the difference between a pressure potted piece and a not. Admittedly, even I've given some dudes pieces before, and they're like, it's really light, and you're like, well, yeah, I don't use a pressure pot, so I've got 1,000 micro bubbles in my piece. If I were to cut through yours, it's solid plastic. You cut through mine, it looks like fucking toast, But I mean, this is one of those pieces that like this doesn't need a backer. This is and it's huge, man.
That's a beauty, dude. The scale is great, and I think that's exactly why it probably is a good standalone piece and doesn't need the packaging. What I really like, though, dude. That being said, when it's a large vinyl piece, and then you get like a large vinyl piece that's bagged up with
Yeah.
this monster header, that is freaking cool. That's really cool, man. And there's people that keep them in the bags and then like hang them on the wall like that, and that always looks cool, man. That requires an insane amount of room, but that was a beauty of a piece that you just showed right there, man. That was awesome.
Well, it's weird. I do feel like sometimes I feel we've kind of gone a little backwards at times, and it's almost like with the increase because I think my group was kind of touching it, but not really. But it's no different in tattooing or any other trade, right? When you learn to do something really, really well, and you and I have seen it, right? The more you collect, the more you handle pieces, the more you kind of see the difference. It doesn't mean that you respect or like a different piece any less or more than the others, but you do start to see certain craftsmanship details. And the more that you're buying pieces of a caliber where you're like always looking at it going, holy shit, right? You always want that reaction. You always want somebody getting a piece being like, damn, this is a handmade piece. And I just think that sometimes when we do that whole, well, they're handmade, doesn't matter. It's like that's just not the right attitude to be having, right? Or we've even discussed before when you can tell somebody approaches a bootleg with that whole bootleg aesthetic versus I did this Sunday night before it was due Monday morning. Like you see the differences,
Yeah.
and it's just being honest about your work. And I just think I don't know, man. Like when I'm looking at this Toxic Fumes toys piece beside me, and again, another example where like some of the Canadians, like their work, it's just stupidly good, man. It's
Yeah.
clean, and it's kind of different. Like we just don't really see a lot of like 4-inch figures anymore, 4.5s. Even this guy here, this Angry Beast one, same thing where it's like those 4-inch figures. It's just clean,
Right.
clean casts, man. Like they're just really, really solid resin pieces. Yeah, I don't know. It's I think we have some really good makers in in Ontario, Canada in general. Yeah.
Well, and when you were talking about, the insane, like the holy shit pieces, dude, that is a big reason, when Pope Toys was saying that he was working on some pieces for me, when I get his pieces, dude, and I look at them, that's the kind of reaction that I get, dude. And if I have to wait a month, 2 months, whatever it is, um, no problem. No problem at all, dude. And I think that, and I said it in the interview too, that like I think as a buyer in this community, you have to have a very forgiving approach sometimes when it comes to getting stuff out. Um, I'm sure everybody would like to have a finished piece sit on their shelf for a while just to make sure. I think I would too, and it's hard for someone who's expecting something right away that's what I mean. Like there has to be some understanding that like, look, this isn't coming from a store that's just been sitting on the shelf. There may have been some touch up after I bought it. I don't know. Maybe the packaging wasn't done. I don't know. Maybe the packaging was done and they want to redo it. They didn't like it on the way out, dude. I've had that happen plenty of times. I think for me as a buyer, dude, as long as there's communication on like, hey man, like I'm having issues with this, or I didn't like this, or I caught this on the way out, dude, you could delay it for a year if you wanted to, man. As long as like there's still communication on what's going on, then
That's just it. The issue is when somebody every single post has an excuse for why nothing has gone out yet, and you can tell they're not even just talking to one person. It's everybody, and every post. Sorry, everybody. I promise I'm getting close to finishing up those pre-orders, but I've been dealing with life. Right? Like there's those people where you're always just kind of rolling your eyes, being like, yeah, okay, sure. Like the rest of us aren't dealing with life too. The other is when all of a sudden the account just disappears. Like that is
yeah.
instant red flags. Let's be like, and all of a sudden you reach out to somebody else. You're like, yo, I don't mean to be weird, but do you mind just seeing if you're able to pull up so and so's account? No. Oh, great. So they didn't just block me. They've now disabled Instagram. Who knows how many other people they owe pieces to while sitting on money that they've received for those pieces. Like
Yeah.
those, and like that's just crappy on anybody to do that. But
It is, man,
someone
and I think that the good part about that is that those two that you just described there, I think that's a very small amount of the scene, you know.
point
The
zero one, and word travels
Yeah.
fast, and those people typically lose. They don't. They just don't have a leg to stand on, right?
Well, and it's like Magoob said, dude, and it's just like you said, word travels fast. The bad news is that it's just like everything else, dude. Bad news spreads way faster than good news, unfortunately. And when people have a bad experience, no matter what it is, especially buying something, then they love to tell people about it, you know. And that, especially in this community, I think when you're kind of scratching and clawing for customers and followers as it is, that can be extremely damaging to somebody's reputation, just because it's such a small thing, dude. And that's why it's also important that when you do get something good, I'm not saying everybody has to post, but at least tell a few people about it, you know what I mean? Get them some followers or something like that. But
I think for many people, they post the pieces they received because it's almost, it feels like an obligation, not in a bad way, but almost like a no way. I only paid X amount and got this insane thing. I must do more. Paying you for this piece isn't enough. I must do more.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like that's why. Like let's be real. Sometimes that's probably why you take those insane pictures and post them up, is because you're looking at it being like, no, 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 no. You took a picture of this. You posted it up on the store, and yes, I paid for it. People got to know how fucking cool this thing is.
Yeah, dude, and I think there's a lot, there's a lot into that, dude. I've always been, like a fan of, just because a lot of these artists have become people that I would consider friends, dude. A lot of them I've met in person, even the ones that I haven't met in person, dude. It's like, you just end up being proud to own stuff like this. And then for me, I'm a very competitive person just by nature, man. And so I want to have the best and I want to collect the best and I want to show that off, dude. And I want to have clean displays and I want to tell the stories behind it and I want to tell people why I got it. And then you get into, but this came from this person who is fill in the blank, dude. And that's another great story, which for me is I think is a big part of just the whole collecting in this scene in general is the pieces. Of course, dude, I love to collect cool shit no matter what. But there's also another part of it where you really feel like you're buying stuff from people where it actually makes a difference, whether it's monetarily or spreading the word or whatever it is. I mean, this is a craft that not enough people know about. I mean, there's some amazing work, dude. I don't think anybody can disagree with that.
I don't know. Let's be real. Probably the first thing I ask when I look at a piece online is, can I flip this in like 5 years and get double?
I heard somebody talking
I'm
about
kidding.
I heard somebody talk about the vinyl scene the other day, dude, and they were talking about how it's such a drag, how there's people out there who are really kind of driving that really high end vinyl market where they're just buying and flipping and um, dude, oh God, it pains me to even think about selling anything. You know, it's just that is never even a thought. Like, I don't know how you would price it after the fact, anyways. You know what I
So
mean?
the other day it was fun, and I've jokingly said it, but the other day, the fire alarm in my building started going off, right? And you're kind of sitting here waiting. At first, you're like, oh yeah, whatever. There'll come an announcement on the little PA thing or something saying like it's just a fire drill, no worries, or a test, anything like that. And you don't hear it, and you're like, hmm. And you keep on just kind of working away, and then all of a sudden you hear the fire sirens out there, and you're like, oh, guess there is a fire. And they just kind of keep on working away because it's like, yeah, I'm sorry, like I'm not replacing these toys. If the whole fucking apartment building is burning down, I'm going with these toys, man. I'm sorry, that's just how she be. Like,
Yeah, dude. I mean, oh God. And that's the art part of it, I guess, right? Like, it's
right?
not, it's not replaceable. You
It's
know?
absolutely not replaceable. There's so much more about that. Like, oh, and there's times, I'm sure you or I or anybody else, they get these pieces, they're staring at them, their brain is doing all this other shit, and there's times the maker's going, oh crap, I really didn't put that much thought into it, man. I'm glad it means all that to you, or that you saw all that in it, or I really didn't put that much into it. I thought it looked cool. You know, like I'm sure there's times that happens. That's kind of the beauty of art. You just don't necessarily know how something might resonate with somebody or why it might resonate with somebody. Fuck, dude. Like, if we really wanted to go there, we could probably have an entire night looking at all those warped figures that Magoob has done and have an entire, like, oh, you know, it's close to looking like Impressionism, and they're kind of reached their Picasso stage where they're able to draw this really fantastic stuff, but they're testing this whole new. It's like you could have a snobby, weird art conversation about 90% of the stuff we collect and try and go down a rabbit hole of like what the whole meaning is as to why they did that piece and the influence. It's like, looks fucking cool, dog. That color combination is dope, man.
And dude, in that range that you just talked about, dude, I think that's one of the other really cool things about it is you could get really deep if you wanted to in a couple different directions. You know, you could go with the lore of the piece or whatever it is, or the pieces used to kit bash it, or the process used the double triple cast or whatever it is. Or the person, maybe they're, you know, the artist who made it. Or you could have someone who just goes, man, that looks fucking cool. And I love those colors, and that's why I bought it, you know?
You've got pieces in your collection, like your cowgirl figure. Like that's not an action figure. If I was a kid playing with my toys, I wouldn't have grabbed the cowgirl figure from the mantle and played with that too. It's like, but it meant something to you. And when I think about like even the Hobo Toys one they did, where they took a photograph from a box they had grabbed, like a bunch of miscellaneous photographs, put the clay over top of that, made a mold, made casts, and the whole cast was basically of a scene from a photograph of strangers. It's like that's that kind of stuff that you're
Yeah.
like, yeah, you're just playing with resin. Like it enters into a whole new realm where for some reason you have that sitting there. One of the weirdest ones I have, and it sits with all my other toys, is the Yucko Toys did that crayon set of the bullets back in the day.
Great one.
The crossing of, oh my goodness, this is where you almost wish you had YOYODYNE on tonight, because the crossing of like pop culture, whether it be 2D mediums or 3D mediums, whether it be painted, whether it be hand sculpted, whether it be a bootleg, a kit bash, it's like all these different things kind of bleed into the same realm. And you'll have all these collectors that have pieces of that through their collections. It's, anyways, you got some shares over there. You want to show us some of your shares over there, and we can let these yahoos go?
Yeah, we'll do that real quick. That was a good
Neat,
conversation, man. We'll have to circle back on that at another point, man. But that was we were on a roll there. I think you're right in all that stuff, dude. But it's yeah. Anyways, we can go on and on about that. We'll circle back on that one. Yeah, lots of stuff to show over here, man. I already showed the low tech piece. That was a piece from right here in the United States. We will take a look at, man, we'll start with this right here, dude. King Spider Toys. I'm gonna go through these pretty quick.
Super quickly though, I need to know
Yep.
what is your thing with Gold Bat? Because you have a couple of Gold Bat figures. What's the appeal with the Gold Bat for you? Or Gold Skull, sorry.
Gold Skull. I mean, you know, this one, it kind of goes back to what we were just talking about, dude. This one, I love the artist. I think he's fucking great, dude. He's a super cool guy. think he's super
Yes.
talented. This one, it was anticipated for me because the process when this started, it's probably just the look, dude. I mean, I think the skull works for everything, dude. You know what I mean? I think my favorite all-time character in general is probably Skeletor if we're talking pop culture. But I mean, that is a great sculpt, dude. The cape, I love a cape. Um, I don't know, dude. It almost looks kind of like a wrestler, but not really a wrestler.
No,
It's
it's
so
fantastic.
badass, dude. It's so
Yeah.
fucking cool, man. When I first saw this, I was like, holy shit, man. And he worked on it for a while. He's got a couple different sizes. This one came out in a couple different versions. This is the OG version, is what he's calling this. But I don't know, dude. So it's a bunch of things, but overall, it's one of those ones where I just saw it and I said, that's dope, man. I love that. That's super cool. I want to have one.
Good choices.
Yeah, so that's that. This is from King Spider. That is Hank War. So you got Hank Williams Jr., and Hank Williams III. That one came out of a show. This is really cool. I mean, the paint on these figures is crisp and clean. This is King Spider Toys Sadat. This is another Canadian artist. I believe this was in a Behind the Bootleg show, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, would have been one of the last ones, I believe. But that's a super cool figure. Speaking of card backs and stuff, nice and straight. Look at that, dude. And really high quality on that too. This little set right here, man, this is old, dude. This is from Angry Beast. I can't remember what this is called. I know he posted it one time. I can't remember if it was a claim or if it was in his shop. But it's these 3 cowboy figures that are kind of articulated. One of them, like the top half is a hand, the other one's a head. This one is like a little cowboy. That's from Angry Beast, another Canadian artist there.
Damn, I don't think I've ever seen those. Those are fucking fun, man.
Yeah, those are old school, man. Here's another old school one, dude. This is Money Mantis from Toxic Fumes. This one came out in a bunch of different versions, man, but I loved this one.
Money Mantis is so good.
It's so good, dude. The card art for this one was really awesome by the former Dr. Oblaman. Magnetic articulation here,
damn.
super cool. Yeah, dude. Really cool.
I heard that.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, that's a good one, dude. That one's hand painted.
Yeah,
How
I
about
think
this
Toxic
one?
Fumes Toys is underrated, man.
For sure, dude. I have a lot of cool pieces from him, man. I was trying to pick just one, and I picked that one. But yeah, dude, he's got some really good sculpts and just some really fun pieces altogether. How about Hoodwink Toys, dude? Hoodwink Toys. That account has been kind of silent for the last few years, but this was like a 4-figure set of like horror figures that he did. That Freddy right there, that's badass, man. These are all just static resin figures. But he did some really cool marbling on these. Again, this is Hoodwink Toys. That account is still active. He just hasn't made anything in a while now.
Those are cool. Crisp.
Yeah, man, those are nice. Those are really fun. Pope Toys. We looked at these. He did these wardens for me, and he ended up doing them.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, dude.
Fuck, damn.
He ended up doing these in all the primary colors. That's kind of what the direction I asked him to go in. So these are Neuro Wardens, but I think he called this set the Primary Wardens, which are really cool, man, as a set. Awesome. And this is exactly what I'm talking about, dude.
Sick.
Like, yeah, dude, like, I don't even remember how long these took, but if you would have told me they would have taken 6 months, I would have been like, damn, dude, well, it was fucking worth it. They're super cool, man. Poke Toys on those. Yow. Those are awesome. Dre, I know you remember this little set, dude. These are the guys that came in the little.
Oh yeah. The Toxic Patch Kids.
Yes.
He sold out of those instantly.
Yeah. And the packaging for these was really cool, man. They came in like these little those green toxic barrels. But yeah, these are cool. And these I think almost all of them glow or have some sort of, oh shit. Yeah, dude, look at that. Bam. That thing lit up super quick. And these are a couple years old, man. So that's going still really nice on that. That's Dre on that one. Some BSW, Bootleg Sewer Mutant. You know all about those. Bam.
I'll never have enough. Like the Brat's probably one of my top like 5 favorite sculpts, man. I don't know what it
Yeah.
is, just fucking love it. And then the dude's a gem.
He really is, man. And I remember back in around, 2020 when I first came in, dude, these pieces right here were highly coveted pieces, man. There weren't a lot of them around. And I think the ones that I have, dude, are not ones that I bought, dude. I think they've actually been given to me by people. So they're very cool pieces. This is by Von Fake Name. This one is on a stand right here. This is just like the one that Pope Toys showed this evening. That one's super rad though, man. That creature figure, really
His
well done.
colors. You always know a fucking Von Fake Name piece, man.
Oh man, that yeah, really good palette on all this stuff, man. This base glows if I'm not mistaken, but that's another hand sculpted thing.
Yo, I'm gonna be a douche real quick. This
Yeah.
Von Fake Name one, I hope they make more of these in the future. But this might be one of my fave Von Fakes.
Oh, nice, dude.
The base with the little flower, like tombstone, like the zombie punk rocking out of there. And then what's
I
trippy is
like that.
originally I was seeing on the tombstone it says alone, and maybe I'm crazy, but now it's hard not to read it as AI1, and it's like
Yeah.
either way, that's fucking cool.
That's really cool, man. I love that base, and I like how the feet stick in there to hold it, dude. That's yeah, nice.
That's twice they've done that, and you know
Like
what?
that.
And sorry again, not to step on your toes. 'Cause I know I've shown this one before,
No, all
but
good.
his boot man. I
Mm,
love the fact that this Bootman figure, same thing, has the indentations on a base that say Bootman on it, and then they've got little fucking magnets with the little magnets in the feet as well, so that
oh,
way he just clips in there.
yes,
Oh,
nice, dude. I
there we
like
go.
that.
But
Man, I
yes,
like it
well
when
thought out.
the artist thinks about stuff like that, dude. I think the first one that I saw that had magnets in the feet was like Cronin Builder,
Cronin.
maybe. Yeah, and that works
Cronin.
great for the. I have them on top of a metal cabinet, and those work great. But
Oh, yeah.
a Dark Rainbow did that with some magnets and some packaging that he did. The Lord God versus Godzilla set has that at
Damn.
both ends, which is super cool. Um, Going on, man. This is Slime City right here. How about that fancy one? That one is super sick.
I feel like that at this point is their like coup de grace. You know, is that the right name? It's like they could do that piece in any colorway, 1,000 different times, and every single time they would sell out of them.
Yeah, and this is no paint on this, man. This is all
No,
like
exactly.
marble, dude. This is sick.
That's like your classic Hurt Toys melted crayon box colorway.
Yeah, dude, for reals. Slime City Toys from Montreal. But yeah,
Montreal.
sick one. That was that
Sorry,
was cool.
a little French for you.
Thank you. Rokomashu, man. This one, speaking of packaging, the packaging on this one was super awesome, man. Really bright. Kind of had this very Mexican bootleg feel to it. But this is awesome, man. Rokomashu, another Canadian artist, really, really nice 5.5. Oh, hey now. Okay. You're on mute. Just in case you were talking right there. I had a feeling you
So,
were.
not to be that guy, but like this is a prime example of runs, man. It's
Yeah.
like Rokomashu. How
No.
many of these has he fucking made at this point? And I've thought about that when I look at the color of the pores, and I'm like, dude, how do you get the same weird bootleggy purple with the silver every freaking time, man?
Yeah. Sick, man.
Oh yeah,
I love
another
those.
underrated. And he came out hot. You know what I mean? He just kind of
Yeah.
came out of nowhere and
Really
knew what they were
large
doing.
scale kit bash pieces that started doing his own, and then Deep Pruitt made that piece like that, shrunk it down a little bit, and that was super sick. But yeah, dude, that's another really fun artist, dude. That was a great interview, man. That's one that I would definitely go back and watch. I never rewatched the stuff, but that's one I would, just because that dude's a fucking gem right there for sure. Speaking of our boy YOYODYNE, this was a one of one that he did. He painted this gravedigger figure, and it's
I don't think I've ever seen that. That like weird metallic pearlescent grainy yellow shit with that orange is so
yeah,
dirty.
yeah, dude, and you got the Phantom Star Killer colorway basically, and then also the font looks very similar, but the header card on that is so fresh, dude. Look at that.
It must feel surreal sometimes having, like, for Killer Bootlegs, creating the Phantom Star Killer character and having so many different people make their versions of it. Like, damn, that must feel fucking cool.
The MAGOOB piece, the warped,
The space warped?
space Phantom space warp or whatever it was, dude. That's a good example. Dude, this one right here, dude. I don't know if I ever showed this one or not, but so this is from Apocalyptico 2. This is Lab Monkey 9, a Canadian, and Aaron Fist, who I believe Aaron Fist is from Oregon. I don't believe they are Canadian, but that was a collab that they did. But this is, I mean, everything that you'd want from Lab Monkey 9, dude. The articulation on it is just, there's a lot of it. It's like it's in the wrist, it's in the arm, the waist, the legs, this big ass blade right there. Just a beast of a piece, man. This is like the centerpiece of my Lab 9 shelf. But that's a big dude right there, man. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's gorgeous.
Yeah. Sicky.
Jeez.
Damn. That's a good one there. Couple more. Speaking of Grayskull toys, dude, I always love that one.
Yeah,
that's a dope one.
As such a fucking cool piece, man.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Something about that weird rib cage on the outside is just fucking dope.
Yeah, super cool, man. We gave one of these away, actually, that he donated to the show. Thank you again for that. But sick, man. His Godzilla pieces, throws it in a little bag on your way out the door. Always priced to sell, dude. Just lots of good stuff to say about Grayskull toys. And last but certainly not least, I have two different Naomi Naff pieces. One of them is, this is a ceramic piece, or a resin piece, I should say. I can't remember the name of this one. It has something to do with Krakatoa, I believe, but it's basically like the island of Krakatoa that's exploding. But the Naomi Naff style, dude, you can see, I mean, dude, you can pick that out from a mile away. The detail on them are just so cool.
I'll forever kick myself. They, for a while on their store, had the Latoufs up for like $20 a piece.
Oh, wow. Yeah, they run some great sales, man. And, you know, the Lamort that I posted the other day, dude, those are on sale for like $90 right now, dude. And the paint on them is super sick. This one is She's Wicked.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, that's a vinyl piece, man. But I mean, look at the detail in the paint and the sculpt. I mean, God, what a beautiful piece, man.
Absolutely surreal work.
Canadians, all Canadians tonight. How about that? Damn. But I believe there's, I don't know if there's any blanks left, but there's some painted ones of these on her website. And dude, I'm saying, like, a Naomi Naff display is super sick, but it's not outrageously expensive either, man. You get on there and you're like, damn, well, half the stuff's on sale. But even when it's not on sale, man, if you're looking for some classy stuff on the shelf, there you go. Naomi Naff, K-N-A-F-F. There you go.
Damn, dude. Nice little showcase of Canada.
Yeah, for sure, dude. And I started looking around. There's probably some that I missed even, dude. But the amount of, you know, I mean, Canada's such a big area, dude, but there's so many. I think that's why Toronto Toy Riot was a good hit, too, was there's so many good artists out there, man.
We're very fortunate. I think there's some talented folks out here for sure.
Yeah.
What do you say, man? We let these yahoos get on it their night, and we'll meet them all back here next Wednesday?
For sure. Thanks again to everybody who jumped in tonight. That was very cool. I liked how we had it seems like we covered a really wide range of the scene as far as time goes. So that was cool, man. Thanks to Magoob and KEVY and Pope and everybody else whose pieces that we saw, man. Well, what do we got on the schedule for next week? I don't think we have anything on the schedule for next week. Not yet, at least.
Know. I never know anything.
It'll be a surprise.
Right. We'll unveil it on Monday.
Have a great weekend, everybody. Happy Canada Day. Happy 4th of July, everybody. Signing off.